Hi, welcome to day 16 of our confinement or shut-in series. Today I want to share with you 6 critical shifts that absolutely have to do with being resilient in the face of adversity. These come from an absolutely brilliant article by Glenn Magurian, and if you get a chance to read it, it's called Realizing What You're Made Of. It was picked as one of the top 10 HBR articles ever on mental toughness, and it made it into their series of the top 10 articles on mental toughness. And he, like many people, went through an incredibly adverse experience, an injury, spinal cord injury that left him paralyzed from the waist down. And after working through the depression, the anxiety, and the trauma that goes with that, because it wasn't just him, he had a wife, he had 2 kids, he had his career, and all of that came to a screeching halt. As he worked through that process, he kept notes, he wrote it down, and he put some of his thoughts in this article. I don't have time to cover everything that's in the article, but I want to share you one piece that I think you'll find useful, because all of us now have made it to the point where the adversity has become real. This is no longer inconvenient. This is no longer a little bit difficult, a little bit sad. The reality and the consequences are becoming severe. People now know people who have died from COVID-19. People now have real job loss, that it's actually gone. People are experiencing the financial hardship that comes from 3, 4, 5 weeks without income. And this has become very real. And so I want to share with you 6 shifts that you can make in your mind that once you begin to accept the adversity, that it is, you can't control it and you can't change it, and you're ready to move forward, these are shifts in how you think, how you perceive, and how you behave that make all the difference in whether or not you survive an adverse situation or you can thrive in an adverse situation. And we've talked to this in the other videos that we've done. So many people will tell you, as strange and hard as it is to believe, that they were transformed through the adversity. They became stronger. They had a new sense of peace. They had a different sense of optimism that wasn't based on old rules and old conditions. As a matter of fact, looking from the outside, you would say they should be depressed. It should be worse. They shouldn't be at peace. But when you get formed in the crucible of adversity, what you find is there are new resources, new strengths, and they come from these 6 shifts that I want to share with you. The first is making a shift from not knowing what tomorrow's going to bring. See, we don't know when the COVID-19 shut-ins are going to end. We don't know if the economy is going to bounce back. We don't know if the job that you got furloughed from, it's even going to be there when you come back. We simply don't know. Now, every minute that you spend focusing on a future that you don't know, that is uncertain, you are stealing a minute from the present where you can focus. You can connect with someone today. You can, in the present, make someone feel loved. You can, in the present today, make someone feel connected. You can, in the present today, serve someone and do something. But every minute that you spend on an uncertain future that you cannot know or predict is a minute that you lose to focus in the present. So the first critical shift is to shift your time, energy, attention, and mostly your emotional resources from a future that you do not know to a present that you absolutely can control. The second is making a shift from focusing on what has happened, which you cannot change. You cannot change that the coronavirus is here. You cannot change that we're on lockdown. You cannot even change the way we're choosing to respond to this. You have to shift from what happened to how am I going to respond. You see this in just about every difficult situation. You have 100% control of the way you respond. Let your focus, time, energy, and effort be on how can I respond more elegantly, more beautifully, more peacefully, more lovingly to what happened. You can't change what happens, but you absolutely can change the way that you respond. The third critical shift, and this is probably the most powerful, is how do you make that shift from what's been lost to what you still have? I remember sitting at a very difficult time in our life where not a lot of money, not a lot going on, and I finally, after losing 2 jobs, got a job offer that I was so excited about down in Phoenix, Arizona, and I had to move from Salt Lake City to Phoenix. But when we added everything up, we had no money to move. There was no way to make it happen. And I thought, now I'm going to lose this job, and this isn't going to happen, and it's going to be terrible. And right at that moment, someone showed up at my door, one of our neighbors, and he said, I just wanted to give this to you. In it was an envelope and a note that says, thank you for all that you've done, and $500. The exact cost of the moving truck to move my family down to Phoenix, Arizona. Now, I'm in the moving truck. My wife is in the car. We have 5 children. One of them is a 6-month-old baby, and all of them are under 10 years old. I take the 2 oldest with me in the moving van, and my wife has the 3 youngest with her in the car. I said, let me get out ahead of you. So she was finishing getting the last of the kids in. And I said, let me get out ahead of you. And I'm going to just get down onto the freeway because I have to drive slower in the truck, and you'll see me and we'll go. Well, it's about 15 minutes from our house down to the freeway. So I get off onto the freeway, heading south on I-15 to go down to Phoenix, and pulled off to the side of the road. Now remember, I'm in a 20-foot bright orange U-Haul truck. My wife comes off of the exit, drives right past me, and goes on. Didn't even see me. Now, she had 3 kids under 5 in the car. This is before cell phones. There's no way to talk to her. So I put the truck in gear, and for the next 10 hours, drive as fast as I can to chase her, to find some way to catch up to her. She gets all the way down to Phoenix, doesn't know where we're going, only knows the name of a friend of ours who we're going to go stop and visit as we find our place to go through, doesn't know the place that we've rented. None of that's there. So I now am completely freaked out because I've spent 10 hours, I can't catch her, I don't know what's going on. And finally, I called my friend, she called her friend, we set up a way to get together. She got there 2 hours ahead of me because she kept going faster and faster because she hasn't seen me and she was trying to catch me. The faster she went in the car, the further behind I got in the truck, which could only go 60 miles an hour. When we got to that house, now, still have a new job, still have no money, still really tough. There was a lot of things that we didn't have, but what I did have was my family. And I remember never feeling more happy just to see my wife, just to see my kids. When you go through adversity, you will lose things. Many of us are going to come out of this COVID-19 permanently changed. There are things that we are permanently going to lose. They are never going to come back. Fourth, and this is critical, is making that shift from what I call distorted reality to crystallized truth. Adversity distorts reality. It makes bad worse. It makes terrible things get bigger. Everything gets bigger and worse. But it also crystallizes for us truths. What's really important? Who do we really love? Who can we really count on? Who's really our friends? And if you can make the shift from getting caught up in the negative, distorted reality to what crystallized truths do I know? What has become very manifest to me? You will find that you will thrive and not just survive. The fifth, and this is hard because I've been through this so many times, you have to make the shift from broken dreams to the space that's created for new ones. All of us have broken dreams. There are relationships, jobs, financial opportunities, schooling opportunities. Go down the list. All of us, because of COVID-19, have lost opportunities. There are some of our dreams that are gone forever. Some have been shattered and will never come back. That's real. The shift, and this is what everyone will tell you to survive diversity will tell you, is you have to move from broken dreams that can no longer be there to the new dreams that it will create for you. That will ignite in you the biochemistry, the focus, and the energy to move forward. And finally, perhaps most important, we have to move from righting injustice to creating happiness. I think everyone has seen videos of people who are driving around neighborhoods and being incredibly upset that someone isn't following social distance guidelines or gathering in a way that they don't think is right. Well, none of us know what is right. All of us have different interpretations. What's essential and what's not essential? What's an essential trip and what's not an essential trip? Who's an essential worker and who's not an essential worker? What, your view? Have you talked to God? Did he reveal to you directly what it should be? And then we get incredibly upset that the world is not functioning the way we want it to function. They're not following the rules the way I have them set up in my head because clearly my rules are the best. Really? That's a great way to get sucked back down into the vortex. If you want to thrive, you have to shift from injustice. Do you know what? It's always been here. It's always going to be here. And there's never been a time in the history of the world that injustice wasn't there. They found a tablet in the Bekaa Valley, and it's from the Assyrian Empire. It's from 3500 BC. And when they transcribed it, here's what a quote on that tablet said. The world is rapidly coming to an end. We are in the latter days. Corruption is everywhere. Governments are falling apart. Children are insubordinate to their parents. And everybody wants to write a book. The end of the world is here. 3500 BC. things haven't changed that much. Injustice has always been with us, and it always will be. But when you can shift your focus, make that critical shift from trying to right injustice simply out of frustration to creating happiness in yourself and those you care about, you can not only survive adversity but thrive. So focus on those shifts from the tomorrow I can't control to the present where I can show up, from what happens to me that I can't control to how I respond, which I control 100%, from what I've lost to loving and cherishing what remains, from distorted reality of the negatives to crystallized truths about who I am and who are the people that I love and care about, from broken dreams to new dreams, and from injustice to happiness. If you can make those 6 critical shifts, you can not just survive, but you can thrive.